When did empowerment truly ignite your soul, rather than just sold a product? Look at the screen, look at your feed. Most of what we call empowerment today is just a brand. It is a coffee mug slogan. It is a fleeting self-care trend that vanishes the moment you close the app. It is pretty, it is profitable, but it is entirely toothless. I am done pretending that is enough. I am finished with the aesthetic version of progress that asks nothing of the world and changes nothing for you. Today, we step off the polished path. We are going beyond the curated images to talk about the system-shaking, uncomfortable reality of what empowerment actually demands. Real power does not come with a discount code or a hashtag. It is not found in a shopping cart. It is found in the friction of reality. We have been conditioned to accept a version of strength that fits neatly into a marketing budget, but that version is a cage. It is time to stop buying the lie that individual style is the same as systemic change. We are done with the surface. We are going deeper. Grim facts. Women earn 82 cents, a gap that widens into a chasm for Black and Latina women. Consider the labor that keeps the world spinning. Women perform 75% of all unpaid care work. That is an invisible workforce valued at $10.9 trillion, a staggering sum extracted for free. Despite making up over half the population, women have never held the highest office in the US and remain vastly underrepresented in global parliaments. These numbers are not just ink on a page. 1 in 3 women experiences violence. 81% report workplace harassment. These are not just statistics. These are our sisters. They are our friends. They are ourselves. Every percentage point represents a life interrupted, a voice silenced, a potential stifled by a system that was never built to include us. We are looking at a landscape of systemic extraction. The scale of this imbalance is massive, yet we have been trained to look away. Now, we force ourselves to look until the weight of these numbers becomes impossible to ignore. This is the bedrock of the struggle. This is the reality we are standing in. For a decade, the narrative has been simple. Lean in, be more assertive, negotiate better, work harder. These words are sold to us as a ladder, but they are actually an anchor. When this becomes the only conversation, it shifts the entire burden of oppression onto the oppressed. It tells you that your failure to advance is merely a failure of your own confidence. But look at the room you are standing in. The floor is slanted. The exits are locked from the outside. The table itself is rigged to ensure you never have a seat. If the house is built to exclude you, your individual effort is not a solution. It is a distraction. You can work until your hands bleed. You can speak until your throat is raw. But you cannot win a game designed for your defeat. We have been playing by rules written to keep us out, hoping that if we just played better, the system works as designed. No doors will open. It is time to stop trying to succeed within a cage. Real empowerment is not about surviving in a collapsing structure. It is about tearing the system down and building something that does not require our erasure to exist. We must ask ourselves, who is this movement actually for? For too long, the narrative favored the privileged, middle-class, able-bodied women, treating their specific hurdles as the universal standard. This is not liberation. It is an expansion of the elite. Intersectionality is not an optional add-on. It is the core requirement. True freedom demands that we center those with the least access to power. We must look to the Black woman, the disabled woman, the trans woman, and the immigrant woman. When we build a structure that lifts the most marginalized, we create a floor that holds everyone. Anything less is just a reshuffling of the same old power dynamics. We are done with movements that ask the most vulnerable to wait their turn. We are done with the silence that follows when we ignore the intersection of race, class, and ability. Real change does not flow from the top down. It surges from the margins to the center. When we move in solidarity, we stop asking for a seat at the table. We recognize that the table itself is the problem. We are here to dismantle the hierarchy entirely and replace it with a collective, undeniable force for justice. Action is the only bridge between theory and reality. Start where you stand. Support businesses that operate with integrity. Advocate for paid leave and real policy change. Interrupt sexism in the moment, not an hour later. Invest your time in community networks and study the history of those who fought before us. This is not a quick fix. It is not easy. It requires constant, deliberate effort. But every time you refuse to shrink yourself to fit someone else's comfort, you ignite a legacy of revolution. You are not waiting for a seat. You are not asking for permission to be heard. You already hold the authority to define your own path. The power you seek is not something to be granted by a boss or a boardroom. It is yours by right. It lives in your collective voice and your refusal to accept the status quo. Take a breath. Look at the people beside you. We are the architects now. We do not need a map to know where we are going. We just need to move. Stop asking for permission to be powerful. You already are. Now, act like it.